attracted you to the field of education?
In education, I feel that there's so much opportunity to really make a positive change in our world. And I'm seeing, even, like I said, as an educator right now, I currently teach in a middle school. I've worked in high schools. I've worked at the university level as well. And I like it, having all of those experiences really has shown me that being in that sort of position, being an educator, being an instructor, however you want to put it, is such a valuable and such a rewarding experience. And it really makes me happy and glad to, like I said, be in that position to, build relationships with students and hopefully influence them in a positive way so that they can also contribute positively to their world.
What specific training or certification do you have?
I have my undergraduate degree from Lafayette College in Easton, Pennsylvania, where I double majored in French and anthropology sociology with a minor in Mandarin Chinese. And I also earned my master's of arts in the social sciences from the University of Chicago.
What are your non-technical skills or characteristics you think are essential for success in your role?
I would say that communication is absolutely key. So I guess we can consider it a quote unquote soft skill. Communication is so vital to really, in whatever project that you're involved with, whatever field you're involved with clients, communicating with customers, communicating with students, communicating with families, whoever you may be communicating with, it is such a crucial part of making something work, making a project work, making a lesson work, whatever you're doing.
And what is your process for teaching honors classes or AP classes in high school?
I would say that generally speaking, in order to more successfully contribute to that sort of environment, is holding my students to a high standard. And I think I try to make that clear on day one of that course. Saying that it's not going to be an easy road. You're going to have to contribute and you're going to have to dedicate a good amount of time and effort into finding success in the course. But also, I think beyond that as well is making sure that students are aware that it is perfectly acceptable and it is encouraged to reach out for help. That, just because you're in an honors course or AP course or an advanced course doesn't mean that you have to do everything by yourself. That learning, education, training, whatever you want to call it, is a group effort, and you can't just rely upon yourself to do everything, that you need to be able to utilize those resources when necessary.
And what's the biggest challenge you face in your field?
I think there are quite a few different issues or challenges that face us today, and I'm seeing more so now, I think with the introduction of AI, so artificial intelligence, and I think it's so still new, it's so nascent. There are so many evolving changes regarding artificial intelligence and how do we appropriately utilize it in the classroom. Like I said, whether that's say in the K through 12 realm, whether that's at the college university level, as a quote unquote expert in that field, I still feel like I'm learning quite a bit of like how do we actually effectively utilize AI. I do see so many of the benefits and like I said, the benefits, the potential uses that we can have AI, implement or we can implement it for in the classroom. But at the same time, like I said, since it's so new, it's so rapidly evolving, I think it could be a little overwhelming sometimes to understand the potential consequences of using AI in the classroom.
And what are the typical tasks and responsibilities of someone in your role?
Sure. So I think it depends on which particular section of education we're talking about. So I think in the K through 12 realm, there's a lot more opportunity to, like I said, I not only I think develop the academic sense of the student, but also to develop the personal ambition, to develop a personal relationship with students and to help them become more social beings. So I do find that it's a nice healthy balance of, so for example, in the K through 12 realm, I'm a French teacher and I've also done social studies, and like I said, we'll use a couple of different general terms like social studies, humanities, those sorts of courses. So like I said, it's a healthy balance of balancing the academic rigor and expectation, but also since we are dealing with a population that's still growing in many different ways, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, right? There's a lot of opportunity to provide guidance and direction potentially for those students. And like I said, balancing expectation and rigor with also finding a sense of personality, humanity, however else you may call it.
And what are the pros and cons of your career path?
I would say the pros are regarding education, like I said, regardless of which level you are involved with, is really building relationships. I find that education is such an important field in society just because of the fact that for basically almost anyone who has ever existed on the planet, in some way, shape, or form, you'll probably find yourself in some sort of situation where you're enrolled in a school or an educational program, academic pursuit, maybe a trade school, anything like that. So I do find that education, like I said, I'm using that term very generally, very broadly here, is such a crucial aspect of the, well, I guess you could say the creation of society, the preservation of society. And without it, I don't know. I can't imagine a world in which we don't have education in some way, shape, or form. Because how would we consist, and how would we persist as a society if we had no such thing?
How does someone transition from a general role to your areas of expertise?
I'm going to focus on K through 12, and I'll go to the college university aspect. I would say the K through 12, it's kind of interesting because I think in my particular instance, having been more routinely involved, say, in middle slash high school environment where we are specialized. So, as I mentioned before, right, I'm currently a French teacher. And like I said, I do have experience with teaching social studies, humanities at those levels as well. I guess in a general sense, when I was in the process of becoming a certified teacher, I had to go through a process of examination through the practice exam. I had to provide credentials that that I had met the basic requirements for certification, having my general education requirements. And then I guess going into the more specifics of, say, whether it's French or social studies or the social sciences, humanities, however you would like to classify it. Once again, I also had to take my certification examinations for those particular subject materials, making sure that I maintain regular contact with professionals in those particular fields, maintaining a rigorous curriculum. Basically, for my own professional development, maintaining professional development with other colleagues in the field. So, even though I consider myself the teacher, the educator, the instructor, however you want to label it, I also consider myself a student. And even though we are the quote unquote leaders in the room at that time in the classroom, we're always learning. I'm always learning every single day. And like I said, I think that's one of the nice, refreshing things about being in education is that you're always learning, that you never stop learning because you can't stop learning. Things are changing all the time. Things are always evolving all the time. And if you want to become the most effective teacher, instructor, educator that you want to be, you need to be responsive to those changes.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining our Ask the Expert series, Walter.
Right? Thank you very much.